Last night mattered. It mattered to me. LeBron James passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the all-time leading scorer record. And it felt good to have something like this matter again, because I just don't think this stuff matters all that much anymore. It very well could be me. It's minor history lesson again. Growing up with numbers, understanding what 61 home runs in a season meant, getting to the All-Star break and wondering if Eddie Murray or Dale Murphy could have enough. And then my dad just be like, no, all these guys fade out. It's not going to happen. Then going, well, wait, how did Hank Aaron, he hit 755 of them? How many did he have to hit every single year? And understanding some of these numbers. I remember Clemens striking out 20 against the Mariners in 86, when I was starting to become super locked in as a kid. Ordering sporting news, having it delivered to the house, memorizing batting averages, thinking that was really cool. But the reason I was able to memorize all that stuff is I didn't have anything else to memorize. I didn't have a ton going on at 9 or 10 years old that was super important. So that's what I would do with my time. But feeling like you were part of this moment because no one had ever struck out 20 guys in a game before. It's not the same because I'm older. I have different things that I care about. But I think for younger Laker fans or just straight up LeBron fans or whoever you are, there was a moment last night where I think these moments are becoming more and more rare. And that itself might be an issue. Maybe it's better that we don't care as much now. I don't know. I'm not going to argue that it's better. But I'm not going to argue that as a kid, it was worse. Maybe we're all simpletons. We certainly had less distractions. I don't know if it's better or worse. It just is. And it was what was important to me back then. Baseball has ruined, I think, romanticizing these numbers because of everything that happened during the steroid era. Football's never really mattered as much on the counting numbers for this stuff. If you ran through it and you sit off the top of your head, who's got the most passing touchdowns? Well, you'd probably think Brady, and you'd be right because he played longer than everybody else. Emmett is at 164. I don't think anybody's walking around going 164 rushing touchdowns. Will that ever be taught? Who knows with the way running backs are used now. And then Jerry Rice. Maybe some of you remember that it's 197 receiving touchdowns because it's so absurd in comparison to Randy Moss, who's number 2 at 156. But even Brady, who passed Breeze for the all-time passing yards record, right? So you could say that's somewhat equivalent to scoring record for LeBron, which it doesn't feel that way to me. But if we were trying to figure out what it was, do you even remember when he broke it? I'd already forgotten. It wasn't even that long ago. 21 October up against the Pats. And the reason it was so stupid when it happened is that they spotted the ball a yard short and then even and then commercial break, because everything's a commercial break now in football. You come back and be like, hey, Brady's got the record. Most anticlimactic thing ever. But I also think we don't care as much about the historical stuff with football as we did with baseball, and probably not even with basketball. So the other thing that I think we've seen happen, and it's happened in baseball and happened in basketball, I'll give you one example of it, is that when we are about to have some of these big moments, like a no-hitter, our no-hitter's just uncool now, as if this manager's some fucking hero every time he runs out there and takes a guy out, the no-hitter, doesn't send him back out after 7 innings. It's like he's gotten everybody out for 2+ hours. Nobody can touch him. Yeah, that third time through the lineup, though. The score's 4-0. Let's see what happens. Now, I don't think more no-hitters would save baseball necessarily, but there's been a shift at times to show kind of how much you don't care about these individual accomplishments, that we've gone too far with it, where it's like, you know what we want to do at home? See if the guy gets a no-hitter. Or like Klay Thompson when he hit 60 points through 3 quarters for the Warriors at the end of 16. And it's like, nah, we couldn't send it back out there. I'm pretty sure they were killing who they were playing. I want to see him go back out there. It's not like he's going to get Wilt's 100, but maybe Kobe's 81. Let's just see what could happen. So some of these dudes who, by the way, would love to stay on the mound, or Klay Thompson, or deep down, it's like, he would have loved to gone back out there and thrown up 6 or 7 more threes just to see what would happen. I don't know. There's been a weird pivot away from some of this stuff, as if you're somehow more gracious by deciding to not do some of these things. So here you have LeBron, who, no matter what you think of him, and I don't think today's the day, right? I don't think today's the day to get into some of this stuff. It's kind of like the day someone dies and a guy's an hour in going, I know he just died, but, and you're like, can we give it a fucking day, man? Can we give it a day? Now, nobody died here. Somebody set an all-time scoring record. But look, the Jordan crew out there is very protective. The LeBron crew also very protective. I've run into parties from both camps, and it's almost like they were trying to size me up to see where it was going. Here's what I would offer up. I doubt anybody changed their mind from yesterday afternoon until this morning, right? I was on the fence about this LeBron guy, but boy, all-time scoring record, yeah. You know what? Now with more data, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to pencil him into number one. I'm going to move him ahead of Jordan, right? I've also heard, maybe today's not the day to compare. That's just not going to happen. It's not what we do. You know what's the only thing worse than comparing Jordan and LeBron today, acting as if any of this shit's going to have a different result, is the guy that says, let's just celebrate greatness. The don't compare guy, I'd argue, is way worse today than the compare guy. Like, what do you think we do here? All right. Now, the LeBron, it isn't a LeBron. Look, I have Jordan 1. LeBron has himself 1. He's supposed to have himself number 1. Over the time, as this, dwindles down this career, which keeps going at a rate that I don't know that anybody could have ever predicted. That's how special this is. He'll push certain things and whatever. And like, again, I don't even really want to do this today because I could point to like, boy, that sit down with Wilbon. How about him saying like, I would love some of these players that I'm currently teammates with who have been traded for this other guy I'm not teammates with. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to stop myself mid-criticism because I think it'd be nice to give him a day. Because as far as the product on the court, he has delivered in a way few prodigies ever deliver. Most of these people can't handle the stress of being in front of a camera from their mid-teen years to becoming a full-blown adult with his own family and all this stuff. Like, a lot of people, when you wonder, like, oh, what happened to that celebrity? It's like he cracked. He couldn't handle it anymore. That's what happens to a lot of these people. And he is a basketball player. That's never, ever happened with him. He's the best bet in team sports, he or Brady, for their entire generation. But what I think is important, where I started about, last night mattering to me, mattering to the people that care about records, is that it might be one of the last career counting numbers that we all ever get to share together. Because unfortunately in basketball, forget trying to have a big night or no-hitter, all that kind of stuff that's happening in baseball. We are watching a generation of NBA players who could give a fuck about playing in basketball games. All right? Like, I swear some of these dudes just be like, do you want to take Thursday off? Be like, who we got? Oh, the Jazz? All right, cool. Yeah, let's take Thursday off. You're going to wear your off-whites? Yeah, I'm going to wear them. And we're going to just, fire on any of the baddies courtside. All right, yeah, that's cool. We'll play Saturday. We get another game Saturday. So LeBron, who played, okay? The guy wanted to play in all of these games. Hell, he could have won a scoring title almost last year, but had he pursued the scoring title when the team wasn't that good, he would have caught shit for that too. So when everybody thought, oh, he's probably going to go for that, and people were getting ready to criticize him for caring more about that and pushing for it, it's like, man, sometimes the guy can't win. But when you achieve one of these all-time records, right, the counting record for the career, don't let that confuse you and call me out for being like, don't you always diss all the counting stats? I diss counting stats for players that I think stink, that get to take a lot of shots on shitty teams. Separate topic altogether. The counting stats like this that shouldn't even be tainted by me having to point that out. That player usually is limping to the finish line. Kareem, for example, 23 points a game, 17 points a game, 14 points per game, 10 points per game on the way out. Now, I know what you're going to say. Wait, Kareem went to college. LeBron didn't have to do it. Yeah, I get it. Jordan fans also saying, well, Jordan retired. Then don't retire twice. Okay? There you go. We're only keeping track. This category is about one thing. Did you score more points than anyone in the history of this entire sport? And the answer is yes. That's a pretty big deal. But LeBron he's not limping. He's 7th in the league in scoring. So whatever the number is today, this is really about what this number is going to be when he's done, right? Because I imagine he's going to keep playing, and no younger guys like, oh, I can't wait to play when I'm older. I'm not as good as I used to be. And then you get older and you're not as good as you used to be. And guess what you like doing? You still like being on a team. You still like having all the attention. Who knows if he's going to play with his son? But this was kind of the preview to what this number could end up being in a sports world where I think for the most part, we're desensitized. We don't care. We don't celebrate. And I get all the reasons why we don't. But for a night, it felt good to be reminded of why these accomplishments actually used to capture our attention in ways they don't today.